Hi everyone. So in this video I'm going to discuss about the another black box testing technique, that is nothing but state transition technique. So in my previous videos I have already discussed about the four black box testing technique, that is equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis, error guessing, and the decision table technique. So these four we have discussed. Now today this is the last one of black box testing technique, that is state transition technique. So now the first question arises that what do you mean by state transition? So in this technique, in this state transition technique, we perform to check the change in the state of the application under varying input. So basically, in this state transition technique, we we test the different state of our machines. We test the different screen of our machine, or we test the different transition state of any machines. Okay, so basically in the state transition technique, all the different stages we need to test. Now how or what are the stages, I will discuss one by one. So the state transition technique, it's a black box testing technique, and in this type of software testing which is performed, check the change in the state of an applications under varying input. So the condition if of input past is changed and the change in state is observed, so we have to observe that thing. And the state transition testing is basically a black box testing technique that I have already told you, and which is carried out to observe the behavior of the system or the applications for different input condition passed in a sequence. So basically in this type of testing, both positive and negative input values we have to provide, and we have to check that after putting that positive and negative value, how our system is behaving. What is the system behavior? We have to check that. So in that test transition testing is basically used where the different system transitions are needed to be tested. So in that state transition technique, we test the different state of our machines, we test the different screen of our machine, we test the different transition state of our machines. So in that technique, in this technique, all the different stages we need to test, or we can say that all the different phases we have to test. Now what are the phases? Let me discuss it. So now, so first I'm go to the one tool. Okay, so I am drawing one diagram so that you guys can better understand that how the state transition technique works. So first let me give some example, real time example. Suppose, just think about that, all we know how to use ATM machine. Okay, so just imagine, just for example, so the ATM system is like that. If we enter third times as a incorrect pin number, then the account will be blocked. So just example is a scenario. So if any user attempt 3 times wrong ATM pin number, then the ATM card will be deactivated. Okay, ATM card will be blocked. So this is a scenario. Now how we can draw that diagram for the state transition technique? First, let's say first we are, so I am, yeah. So now first step is that the ATM need to start. Okay, first that we have to start the ATM. We have to start the ATM. Okay, fine. Okay, so first start. Okay, first we have to start the ATM. Now ATM is start. Now what should I do? What is my requirement? The requirement says that if any user 3 times wrong password or wrong pin number, then the ATM will blocked. Okay, so now first what we will do, first we have to do the first attempt. So I am doing the first attempt here. Okay, so I am doing the first attempt. So here first attempt, first attempt. So if a user do the first attempt, if the first attempt for the first attempt, if we put the correct pin number, then we can get the money. That is the logic. So if we put the correct pin number, then we get the money. So then we get the money. Now, but for the first attempt, if any user put wrong password, then what should we do? Then we have to go for the second attempt. So we have to go for the second attempt, right? So let's say this is the second attempt. This is the second attempt. The second attempt. So now, if any user for the second attempt, if the pin number is correct, then we can get the money. No issues. But for the second attempt, again user is put some wrong pin number. If user is put some wrong pin number, then what? Then again we can go for the third attempt. 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 Now, for the third attempt, if user put the correct pin number, then obviously the user can get the money, right? But if the user is put some wrong pin number for the third attempt also, then what? Then it will show that the account is deactivated, or it will give some, the account will be blocked. We can like write block the account, blocked the account, a blocked account, correct? Now from the first, so what the first step, first stage? The first stage is that we have to start the ATM. The ATM is starting. Now we are inserting our ATM card to the machine, to the ATM machine. Now we are giving some pin number, the ATM pin number. For the first attempt, if any user give the correct pin number, then we can get the money. But if the first attempt user is putting some wrong pin number, then we cannot get the money. Then again we can go for the second attempt or second time try. Now we are trying the second time. If a user give the correct pin number, then we can get the money for the second attempt. But for the second attempt, if user is not giving the correct pin number, then what? Then we can go for the third attempt. So in the third attempt, if user put the correct pin number, then we can get the money. The user can get the money. But in the third attempt, if user is put some wrong pin number, then the account will be blocked. Why? Because the requirement says that we can only attempt 3 times. As I am previously told you that the requirement says that if a user put their pin number for the third attempt, for the third time, wrong pin number, then the account will be blocked. So now third attempt, if a user is putting the wrong pin number, then the account will be blocked. Okay, that means we are checking all the stages here. So that's why in the definition I told you that we have to test the different stages of our application. Okay, why? So this is the one stage, this is the second stage, this is the third stage. So we have to check all the stages, and also here we can check the both positive and negative input values. So positive input value means we are giving some correct pin number and we can get the money. What is the negative? If any user give the wrong pin number, then he go for the second attempt. So this is the negative one. That means in the state transition technique, we can get 100% test case coverage. Means both positive test case and negative test case we can get. So this is the one example for the state transition technique. Let's go for another example. Suppose you have built one app or you have built one application, and the application you have restricted something like that. If suppose your application is like a Flipkart, so any order delivery applications, any e-commerce application, okay, now you put some restriction that if any user suppose let's say if any user is giving the third time for the wrong username or wrong password, then the account will be blocked or he cannot get any type of order delivery. Okay, now suppose just example that in the Flipkart, so you have ordered something, you want to order something, then you have to go for the login first. So you have logged in. Now what you will do now? Whenever you are ordering something, just say for example, whenever you are ordering something, you have to put some pin number. So this is the application how you developed. So whenever you are ordering something, you have to put one, suppose OTP. So if any user give the correct OTP, then the order will be delivered. Then the order will be delivered or the order will be processed. But if you put the wrong OTP, then the order will not delivered or not processed. Okay. Now what? For the first attempt, you put the wrong OTP. Then you have to go for the second attempt. In the second attempt, you are putting some wrong OTP. Then you have to go for the third attempt. But in the third attempt, but in all these three stages, if you put one, so suppose in the first attempt, if you put the correct OTP, then we don't go for any type of second or third attempt. We can directly deliver our order. Okay, but for the first attempt or for the second attempt, if you give some wrong OTP, then you are going to the third attempt, and in the third attempt also, if you put the wrong OTP, then the account will be blocked. That means in this state transition technique, we have to state the different stages of our application. Okay, so this is the concept of state transition technique. So in that test transition technique, basically what should we do? We have to test the different state of our machines, different screen of our machines, different transition state of our machine. Okay, so now you guys are very much clear about what is state transition technique. So if we use that state transition technique, then we can get 100% test case coverage, because here we have to give the positive values as well as negative values. Okay, now coming to the next topic, that is what are the objectives of state transition testing or state transition technique. What is the advantage? So what is the objective? The objective first one is that to test the behavior of the system under varying input. If we put some varying input values, then we have to test the how our system is behaving. What is the system behavior? To test the system behavior, to test the behavior of any system under varying input. So this is the first objective we have to test. Then second, to test the dependency of the values in the past. Then to test the change in transition state of the application, and to test the performance of the system. So these are the four objectives we can achieve from the state transition testing or state transition technique. Okay, so these are the objectives we have to remember. Now go for the next one, is that when do we use this technique? So when we have sequence of events that occur and associated conditions that apply to those events, then we can use this technique. When we have sequence of events that occur and associated conditions that apply to those events, then we go for that state transition technique. And second one is that when the proper handling of a particular event depends on the events and the conditions that have occurred in the past, then we go for this technique. And third one is that it is used for real-time systems with various states and transitions involved. Then we go for this technique. And what is the advantage of the state transition testing? The first advantage is that 100% test case coverage. So both positive value and negative values we can put. So this is the first advantage. Second advantage is that state transition testing helps in understanding the behavior of the system. Why? Because the objective says that we have to test the behavior of the system under varying input. So that's why obviously the state transition testing help us to understanding the behavior of the system. So how my system will behavior if we if the different stages we applied, right? So this is the second advantage. Third one is that state transition testing gives the proper representations of the system behavior. And the third and the fourth one is that state transition testing cover all the conditions. That means nothing but 100% test case coverage. That means all the positive condition, all the negative condition, all the different state condition. So everything we have to test on that state transition technique. So these are the advantages of state transition testing or state transition technique. Now what are the disadvantages are there? So main disadvantages are there. State transition testing cannot be performed anywhere. We cannot perform anywhere in the state transition testing. And second one is that state transition testing is not always reliable. We cannot rely any time on that technique. Okay. So we can use this state transition technique. Suppose like that, if we check any kinds of this type of testing, like different attempt we can do, different try we can do, then we can go for the state transition technique. Okay. So this is for today's video. I think this video will be helpful for you. If yes, then share these videos to your friends. One thumbs up for this video. If you have any doubt, please comment me, and obviously subscribe my channel EduPaat and clicking on the bell icon, get that videos notification update first. So see you in the next videos with some another interesting topic of software testing. Thanks for watching.